turn to Orquidea now. And Orquidea, obviously, we have so many things to talk about. But one of the things that has come through from Carolyn is just talking about some of the ethics and the guidelines around technology in terms of the design. A couple of things that I'm aware of, there'll be many more that we will put in the links, is that there's a UK Technology and Dementia Charter. So we'll put in a link to that. And the folks who developed Hug have also got a resource available on what they call compassionate design, with some of the principles that across, they've got about 50 different articles. They're an amazing team that they've come to in terms of principles to guide design. But Orquidea, in terms of that kind of idea about some of the things to bear in mind about, in terms of things like transparency, about openness, those kind of things, would that be something that we could start off by just checking in, that kind of when technology might be appropriate, how we might want to use it, some things to bear in mind.
Yes, definitely. Kia ora, everyone, and thank you for the invitation. It's just wonderful to be part of this. I believe, Susan, that we all agree in supporting people living with dementia, in preserving the mana and the dignity and autonomy and agency and all those good things, the overall well-being. But it is important that we adapt to the changing cognitive abilities. It's not just about, oh, I do like that piece of technology. I think it's going to be great, and this is going to help such and such person. And I have learned that myself. And this is why I can share this openly with everyone. Because sometimes whatever we think, we believe might work for someone, it's way more than that. In technology, what I have learned in the time that I have used it, and I do love technology, we have to do it in a certain order, I think, or this is what I have learned, in order to introduce technology in a way that is meaningful for coma to an older person or a person living with a dementia. Number one, we need to get to know the person. We can't just make assumptions. We need to understand who the person is. And I'm not talking only about the life story, but it might be the cultural background, their personality, their intrinsic motivations. Number two, we need to build trust. And it's not only with the person. I mean, it's the most important piece of work to build that trust, but it's also with the family, the people that are the significant people for that person. I believe that we need to support. We just not, sometimes we focus so much on the delivery of care and we forget about the support, the delivery, the supporting the person. And I know that we hear a lot about dementia friendly, and believe me, I am a strong advocate about dementia friendly, but we actually need to be talking about being dementia inclusive. And when we talk about technology, this is super important. Um, we have to foster spaces where it is actually the person that is leading the experience. What is it that they want? What is it that they need? And if we understand what is it that they need and they are actually the people leading the experience, then we have the ability to personalize those experiences. When we talk about ethical considerations, and I do love the fact that Caroline has popped that into the chat, because we are not really digging deep into that. We are making decisions depending sometimes on what is available out there in the market. And it's okay. I mean, some pieces of technology are amazing. And like I said, I love all of them. For example, the hug, I love it. Why do I love that? Because I was born in Mexico. That's part of my culture. I'm a hugger. If I am to develop dementia, if I am to live in a care home in New Zealand, I'm gonna be seeking people to hug me. And maybe I'm going to be, people might be thinking that I am sexually harassing them, but in fact, it's not that. Is that that's part of my upbringing, that's part of who I am. So if you know me and you have built trust, you know that what I need is a hug. And it might not be, the piece of technology, but it might be just someone giving me a hug. And I also would like to stress that technology is never going to replace human touch.
Mm-hmm.
Never. Whatever we say with AI and all the beautiful things that are happening, I would rather to hug my mother a thousand times than to hug a hug, right? Um, but I think technology, we also have to keep in mind that it's not for everyone, okay? Technology needs to be mindful. So we need to consider, yes, personality, values, ethics, upbringing. Um, and when we are introducing technology, we say, okay, so we're going to be using the in-use. It's not just about buying the in-use and having them. You need to have some guidelines. You need to train people on how to use them. You need to identify, you need to ask on whether that actually is going to be appropriate for the person. We need to be enthusiastic about the piece of technology because, in my experience, I have got technology that I am enthusiastic about. But the people that are going to be actually introducing the technology that I believe are going to be enhancing the well being of people, they might not have the same level of passion that I have. And if they don't have it, there's a small chance that it's not going to work. Not because the technology doesn't work. It's because if you understand how this can make a huge difference in the life of people, and if you take the time to understand, if you take the time to learn how to use it, then it can be sustainable. Then you can make a breakthrough. So I think we have to learn how to use technology. So when people see that we are confident, when people see that we're happy using it, it's that energy that gets contagious. When you smile, then someone smiles at you, right? Um, and I think that it's about, yes, creating those joyful moments, but it's understanding why we need to create those joyful moments. Like you were talking earlier, that joy of expansion, 100%. For me, recreation is a human right, and we forget about that. So I think there's a lot that we can talk about, but in my experience, in the time that I have been using technology, at least for the last 15 years, I love it. I have made a lot of mistakes, but what I have learned is I need to get to know the person. There is a lot of variables that we need to take into account. We need to build trust. We need to co-design. We can't just make a decision. We have to find out, is this actually a need or is this actually a want? How can we introduce this in a way that is going to be sustainable? How can I be enthusiastic about this so that everyone that is going to be introducing this technology is going to be equally enthusiastic about it? And there is, we have AI today, and it's amazing. I love it. We have, I put some links. I pop some links on the chat for everyone
Thank
to
you for
have a
that.
look at. Playlists that you can design, but also one of the barriers of technology sometimes is the cost, because we also have to be honest about it. It depends on how much something will cost for people to be able to access it. It's not that they don't want to. I have seen a lot of families that they would love to have a lot of pieces of technology, but the cost might be a barrier. So we also need to look at what can be out there, so that they can continue to support their loved ones in a way that is meaningful to them.